You are listening to Right Off the Bus.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 16 of Right Off the Bus. I'm Chandler Hutchison. That's Pat Mahoney, and it is April 14th already, Pat. I say it so often, man, but I still can't believe that we are on episode 16. We are cruising through this. We're on 4 months, man. We've been doing this for 4 months.
It's been a while. Time's flown, but it's always good to be back each week.
It absolutely is. It absolutely is. And Pat, speaking of things coming back, I know one of your favorite pastimes is finally back, and you've been able to get out on the course a couple times, man. How's that been?
Yeah, it's officially golf season. I feel like earlier than usual too. Like usually sometimes we're waiting forever because the snow will come. Like you'll get out once maybe, but then the snow will come back and, May or March, April, even like we've gotten late storms in May before by some divine miracle. I don't know, but we get out as much as we can. I've been out 3 times. I think I'm going tomorrow when this episode releases. I'm playing 18 tomorrow. I'll probably go on the weekend. So it's officially golf season. And we get that feeling here in New England. Obviously all the major tournaments are in the South at this time. Like they had the Players Championship in Florida in March, and then we just had the Masters as well. So good time to be a golfer.
And Pat, so you're playing 18 tomorrow. What are you drinking? What are you going to be having out on the course, man?
I don't know. That's the thing. Like I'm trying to get my swing back in order because every off season, it's tough to get back into it. So I'll save the drinking for like more towards summertime on the course. I mean, you got to do it. It's also like who you're playing with. So I'm playing with a family friend. I'll just go out there and try to have a good score because I went out this weekend and did not play well.
Hey man,
so that's my biggest goal.
Absolutely, it'd be good for you to get a full 18. And then, man, one of my coworkers at Pops, man, the liquor store, Glenn's the man. Glenn is retired but wanted a part-time job, stay busy. Glenn just flew down to Florida, man. I think he said somewhere like pretty close to Tampa. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm just golfing all week. And he said it's 80 degrees every single day. He's just going to be out on the course all day. He's living in all of his glory, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm going there in June. I'm looking to bring my clubs too.
I'm
go. Staying down near, Madeira Beach. We have a place down in Madeira Beach. So I'm staying there with my girlfriend's family. They're finally going down with me. And I want to bring the clubs. If not, I think I got a spare set down there. Won't be ideal, but good to get out there still.
Hey man, that'll be awesome. So are you recording a pod from Florida, or were you recording an extra one early? That's the real question.
That's the thing, right? We're going to have to figure that out. I know I just dropped that on you.
Might have to pack the
Yeti.
Have
to figure that one out. I think we actually leave Tuesday to Tuesday. So we can record one, but then we might have to
we're going to make it work,
something
man.
out.
That's months away,
make it
right?
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But anyways, another part of the season that's back, baseball's back. We mentioned last week. Chandler, you got to go out to a Red Sox game. How was that?
Yes, sir, man. Feeling blessed. I got the Red Sox jersey on to rep, my Big Papi jersey, only Sox jersey I've ever owned. But, man, I got to tell you, it was cool going to a Sox game. Our buddy Sean called me up, said, hey, I got an extra ticket, family friend. You trying to go? And I said, let's get it, bro. And, it was a 1:00 game. I dropped everything I was doing, pushed a lot of work that I had to do back. And, dude, got up to Fenway, man. Let me tell you, Fenway with only 4,000 people, 12% capacity, it was different. Like you could hear everything, like the crack of the bat on the ball hitting the glove, every fan you could hear. Like the pitcher for Tampa Bay, Yarborough at the time, was taking 25 seconds a pitch. It was brutal. It took forever to throw the ball. And there's just 2 fans yelling, pitch the ball. And you can hear it through the whole stadium.
Yeah, it's not just drowned out by like cheers and jeers, But and dude, I thought they were trying to speed up the pitches. I thought that was one of the things the MLB was doing.
Dude, they were, but I think the cutoff is like 40 seconds or something. Like I still think it's
so
ridiculous.
It's not quite where it needs to be.
Yeah, Daisuke Matsuzaka is out of the league. You don't need a 45-second pitch count anymore. You need like a 35 because he was the only one ever getting to it. But dude, I'll tell you, awesome game. 6 runs in the 5th inning. We won 9-2. It was an awesome game to watch as a fan. Our buddy Sean had never seen a Red Sox win before. He had never gone to a win. So it was great to see that. But Pat, cool. After working at a liquor store for 6 months, man, I should say fine wine store. But man, it was tough spending 11.50 on a beer, on 3 beers, like that was really hard knowing I can get that same 4-pack for $13.
Yeah, that feels more expensive than usual too. Like I feel like when the last time I was at a Sox game, it was like $10. Like I'm curious if they're jacking up prices right now. Like were the tickets more expensive too?
So, I was lucky enough to be given the ticket. Same with Sean. It was from a family friend. So I'm not
Oh,
sure
that's
how
the
much the
best.
tickets
Oh,
were.
that's
Yeah.
ideal.
I felt really lucky. I was like, hey, let me pay for parking. Let me buy you a beer. But yeah, man, they were expensive and everything was a can. There's no draft because of COVID. You can't open up a massive
Oh
keg. There's not
no.
enough to sell.
Oh, the drafts are so much better.
Yeah, and 5 out of every 6 concession stands were closed. You see the grates over, and it's like it was just a
Mm,
weird environment, man. But lucky to go to a game, that's for sure. And it was
yeah, I
really,
can't wait to
really
go out
cool.
to one.
Yeah,
I
man.
can't
Like
wait.
you had sent it. I hope we can all go to a game together. And Pat, I actually didn't know till I got home, and you sent it in a group chat with a bunch of our boys from school. But I tweeted at the Red Sox like unreal feeling to be back at Fenway, like something like that. And the Red Sox
Yeah.
said unreal feeling to have you. And it's so
I do.
funny.
I went on Twitter and I clicked on your tweet and just out of curiosity. I don't even know why. And then what do I see below it? There's a Red Sox response. And they're like, unreal feeling to have you back, Chan Hutch Sports. I'm like, Chandler. I texted this kid. I'm like, dude, they tweeted back. You like, that's so awesome. I tweeted the group chat. I was like, that's crazy. I've
Is it
never had that happen to me before. And you didn't even you were obviously you weren't checking your phone, but I was excited for you. Then you texted me back like 3 hours later. You're like, oh my god, I just saw this.
it is funny, like whatever, intern is sitting there scrolling through all the ads. It's just like unreal to have you back. And I'm like, thank you, random 23-year-old running this account. But
Yeah, right.
hey, it was cool, man. It was cool. And yeah, Pat, my other thing going on, man, I told you guys last week and at the start, but one of my running challenges this month is a running week of 7, 6, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it ends up being 40 miles on the week. And Pat, I just finished day 3. So I ran 7 miles Sunday, 6 last night. Forgot my running shoes when I went out to Western Mass to visit my girlfriend. So I couldn't do it till 8:30 last night when I got back, a nice 6-mile run. And I got 5 in this morning before going to check on my brother's dog. So I'm feeling good, man. Feeling good. I
Well,
think
good for you, Chandler. That is
think I'm
good for you.
think I'm a crush this week, man, and I'm not as scared by it anymore. We're good. I will tell you what I am scared by, Pat, is this Champions League quarterfinal because as a Liverpool fan, it's looking ugly. We're down 3-1 to Madrid. Luckily, that game was in Madrid. So right now, Liverpool have an away goal, and you know, Real Madrid doesn't. I'm still not confident Liverpool's going through there. Um, I don't know how this game's gonna go tomorrow, but Pat, I gotta tell you, I think Real Madrid's gonna end up winning this quarterfinal matchup and going into that semifinal. I don't know what the score is gonna be, but I'm not even picking my own team, unfortunately.
Well, you do have to feel better about Anfield. And then you
Mm,
do have the away goal, so that helps a little bit. Like it is 3-1, but you score 2 and you win 2-0, then you go through.
that's a
So
win.
that's great. And then Real Madrid did have all those injuries, or at least it was injuries or COVID. I don't
Uh,
even know, but they had people out. They had
both.
Rafael Varane out. Hazard still hasn't been playing. I don't know if he's ever going to play for Real Madrid. It feels like he's
Ramos
played
is
like
out
6
again too.
games.
Yeah.
Ramos is out. So you still have that going for you too, even though you lost 3-1 there with those people out. It's a totally different thing in the second leg. That's why there's 2 legs. I do see Real Madrid pulling it out, but Liverpool aren't strange. They're no strangers to comebacks. They've had the comeback before, especially the one against Barcelona. So
Mhm.
I never count them out. I never count your Reds out, but I think I'll roll with Real Madrid too.
Yeah, and hopefully this is a good audition for Mo Salah because all the rumors have been Barcelona and Real Madrid. So hopefully Mo can go put in 2 goals or a hat trick, win it, and then get bought for 150 million. If I I'm I understand when players want to leave. If you want to go somewhere, if I get paid for you and you're still winning, I'm cool with it, Mo. So Mo, do your thing. Sadio, do your thing. Let's just go try to win the game. Pat, your team, man. Man City, they're up 2-1 on Dortmund. How you feeling about that matchup? I'm feeling City all day. I feel like it's probably going to be another 2-1 win.
And they're going back to the Etihad, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So the one thing that did scare me was well, actually we're up 2-1, so we scored the 2 away goals, which is huge. So unless we have a massive collapse, I think we're gonna win too. I think Dortmund are like this, like they're always so good, but maybe it's so great that they're so young because they have so many
Mm,
developing stars and they can transfer them away for so much money, which just seems to be like just their strategy. Maybe that's why they never keep like a dominant winning team like Bayern. But at the same time, it hinders the play at sometimes, even though they make all that money when they send them away. It hinders the play because I think when you get to this stage of the Champions League, which is just the biggest competition in soccer outside of the World Cup, it's tough when you don't have the experience and you don't have veteran guys. Like Man City has a good mix of young players and veteran guys as well.
mm.
So I do think they'll hold the edge. I think they're just too much. Kevin De Bruyne, if Aguero plays, you just have too many weapons.
And De Bruyne just extended his contract 4 years, which is fantastic
Yep.
news for any City fan. And Pat, I'm going City 2-1 here, unless Holland puts in a hat trick. Like it's going to be a City win or
Yeah.
an Erling Holland domination.
Yeah.
Those are the two options.
Holland could put in the or Holland. I don't know how to say it. Holland. He could put in he could have been in the dagger performance. So if they do win, I agree with you. It'll be up to him.
Kid absolutely lives for Champions League, scored a hat trick in his first game ever for Salzburg in Austria and slept with all three of the balls in his bed that night. I love this kid. He's a baller. Can't wait to see where he's playing next year. But man, Porto, Chelsea, Chelsea's up 2-0. I love you, Porto. I'm sorry, but the reign of any Portuguese team being dominant in Champions League ended 30 years ago. So no Porto, no Benfica. Give me another Chelsea 1-0 win, 2-0 win.
Yeah, I would agree with that, and just good on Porto to make it this far. I mean, they made it to the quarters. It's tough when you're a team from Portugal. It's like that, the competition they play is nowhere near the levels of these other leagues. So I would agree with you there. Chelsea are going to go through. I don't think they'll make it past the next round, but Chelsea are going through on this one.
Yeah, because Chelsea's playing Liverpool or Madrid next round, so that's an ugly matchup. But PSG Bayern was the biggest matchup of this quarterfinal, Pat, and PSG 3-2 over Bayern, and that was kind of a surprise to everyone. Bayern beat him in the Champions League last year, so this was surprising. But Mbappe was world class, 2 goals. I think PSG is going to hang on to this. I don't know if this is home or away. I don't know who's playing where, but I think PSG with a 3-2 lead, I think there's just enough firepower on PSG, and there's also enough speed. The one thing that Bayern lacks outside of Alphonso Davies and Serge Gnabry and Kingsley Coman, a couple of their wingers, is speed. Who can match up with an Mbappe and Neymar, man? That is impossible up the left and right side. 2 goals for Mbappe, 2 assists for Neymar. Give me PSG in this game.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like Bayern could focus on defense and not necessarily park the bus, but they could have a more defensive geared formation, and they could play to that to try to stop those players from attacking on the wing. But I think when Bayern are down a goal like they are, it's like you gotta play aggressive to some degree. And if they're playing in France, again, like you said, I don't know where they're playing, but if they're playing in France, it's a tough predicament to be in where you got to go for it, but you also got to play solid defense and not give up a goal to one of the best offensive, fronts in the entire world of soccer. So it's tough. I think I might go with Bayern just because Bayern seem to always pull it out. They always dominate in Germany. They're always so good in Europe. I think I'm going to go with Bayern on this one, regardless of what I just said. I'm kind of contradicting myself, but I think regardless of all those challenges, like they're so good, I'm going to go Bayern.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you there. It's hard to root against Lewandowski and Mueller, that's for sure. And Pat, it's always fun talking soccer, but some of our listeners may have already skipped this, turned the podcast off, or, sped it up just because we were going soccer. I know a few of my friends do, but, we're going to continue on with some other headlines. So if you want to dive into the story in the world of golf right now.
Yeah, the first one. I don't know. Did you watch any of the Masters this weekend?
So we left it on in the background at work. So I'm not a golf fan, but I saw it happen a little
That's
bit.
what a lot of people do with golf. And like me, I don't watch like the minor, little tournaments here and there. I did watch a little bit last weekend. Jordan Spieth won a tournament, but that was kind of just a precursor to the Masters. The Masters is one I always watch ever since I was little, though, because you had Tiger Woods, obviously, Phil Mickelson, you had all the legends playing. But this year, Hideki Matsuyama won the Masters. He became the first ever Japanese professional golfer to win a men's major golf championship. If people aren't golf fans that watch, there's 4 majors. So there's the Masters, which is at Augusta National in Georgia. The U.S. Open, which I'm actually not. I don't know why I said the course because I'm not going to know what the course name is for these other three. There's the U.S. Open, the Open Championship, and then the PGA Championship. So there's 3 Masters. I'm pretty sure the Masters is the first one of the year. So there's 3 more to go. But Hideki Matsuyama, yeah, the first Japanese-born guy to ever win one, and it was really cool because like seeing him, like him and his caddy, just showed so much respect. Like they showed a clip after, like. Well, first Matsuyama's walking through the airport just with like his green jacket on his arm, just like nicely folded. But then his caddy was like bowing to the course after, which I thought was cool. I was like that. It is a beautiful course. Like it's a privilege to get to play there because like I play courses around me and they're not that nice. Some are really nice. Like we have the ranch in Southwick where I used to work, but for some of the courses that I play, and then you go play somewhere like that, like it's just gorgeous. Like so much time is spent on the groundskeeping, and it really is a privilege to play there. And they're the best in the world, so I'll cap to him. But it was an interesting finish. Like for a while, he was up, I think 5 strokes at one point. It was like he was 13 under, and then the next closest guy was 8 under. And he actually it became tight. He ended up kind of bogeying and struggling. He finished at 10 under. And then the second place guy, Will Zalatoris, who's 24, finished at 9 under. So he finished second in the leaderboard. Then the top 3 guy was Xander Schauffele.
And am I wrong, or is Matsuyama like 23 or something? He's very young, right?
He's young, yeah. He is
wrong.
young. I think he's mid 20s. I think he's like 26.
Oh,
I could be totally wrong, but don't hold me to it.
Well,
but what was funny?
I'm just gonna have to go with a quick Google search here now.
You could do it because I was gonna say I don't know if you saw, but Will Zalatoris,
29,
the guy who came in second. Okay, so he's still pretty young though, 29. And Will Zalatoris, people compared him to the caddy from Happy Gilmore. They said he looked like that, the little white kid from Happy Gilmore with like the crazy, like blonde red hair. And Happy Gilmore actually tweeted at him like, "Good luck," because he looked like the caddy. And then I think after Will Zalatoris posted a picture that said like, "I love being your caddy, Mr. Gilmore," or something like on a ball or a shoe. I can't remember, but it was funny to see Adam Sandler. Then there was like a Shooter McGavin account that got in the mix. It was
I saw that one. But
yep.
But that was pretty cool. And am I wrong, or is the isn't that the biggest golf tournament there is? Like a green jacket.
Like it's the most famous.
Like the green jacket is the thing that golfers strive for. And it is very cool to see the first ever Japanese man win this. And I could be wrong too, but I want to say he's also the first Asian man to win the Masters, just in general. But I could be wrong about that. I don't know my golf facts that well, so don't hold me to it. But
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about first Asian. I would have to look that up too. I just know it was first ever Japanese. So maybe if it was Asian, they would have said that. There could have been others. I would have to go back and check.
Yeah,
but yeah, the green jacket is always cool.
Yeah, and like you said, seeing his caddy after the fact stay on the course, bow to it. Very cool moment. Very great camera work by the cameraman that caught that as well. You know, the pan out and everything. But
yeah, the sun was setting. I was like, that is gorgeous.
Beautiful. But man, just that shows just the ultimate respect as a competitor and just respect for the sport, the course, everything. I thought that was a fantastic moment. Really thought that was great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And then moving on with some more headlines, man, this one, Pat, this got me laughing. And we talked about it a little bit before the show, but why don't you share this one?
Yeah, well, I was looking through sports headlines, as I do before the podcast, just to see what we can talk about. And I see this one and I'm like, what the hell is this? So if we all remember Sean Payton's Bounty Gate scandal with the Saints back in 2012, well, apparently Kevin James, the guy from Grown Ups, I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry, like
great movie.
Paul Blart Mall Cop, as you would say, is going to portray Sean Payton in a movie because during that Bounty Gate scandal, Sean Payton wound up serving as an assistant coach on his son Connor's 6th grade football team in the Dallas area while he was suspended by the NFL. Which I think it is a funny concept, like when you think about it, because it reminds me of Mike Ditka from Kicking and Screaming, when they just like it's not the same, Mike Ditka in soccer, but they bring this rando celebrity out, and he's like all of a sudden the assistant coach. So it's like it makes me think of Sean Payton. I hope he's just like ultra aggressive in the movie,
One of the
making him,
five I was just gonna say one of the five greatest tight ends ever, popping out in kicking and screaming like Super Bowl winning coach, like all this. He was the banner between him and Will Ferrell is top level in that movie, like
yeah, he's
absolute
their
A-list.
neighbor. Like,
Throwing the leaves over the fence and like all that stuff. Fantastic. Give me a juice box boy, yelling at Will Ferrell. Oh,
yeah, he's
beautiful.
got the
But
team like cleaning his car.
it is fantastic. But man, what would your reaction be as Sean Payton, as the Super Bowl winning coach, if you're told Paul Blart Mall Cop's playing you in a movie? And I know Kevin James has done a lot more than that. He's a great actor.
Yeah.
He's funny. He's done a
No.
lot of different roles. But man, that is like, I wonder what Sean Payton's reaction is. I'm sure we can find it like within the next week. I'm sure he's going to get asked about this at
Yeah, I know
media
it's Sean.
days.
Like, it's got to be loosely based, right? I know it's obviously just based on the story. It's not going to be like a retelling of it. But I'd be like, they couldn't have got a guy who's like better looking or like could lose a little weight. Like, if Kevin James comes in like Paul Blart size, like that's just gonna be so comedic. Like thinking about
Mhm.
Sean Payton, this little because he's so skinny. Like Sean
He's a
Payton's a
thin
little
dude.
guy. Yeah. I don't know if he's tall, but he seems short to me. He seems skinny. So like it's almost like it's almost like Adam Sandler would have made more sense. But
Yeah. And kind of looking
Adam
at like the age too, I feel like is kind of strange. And I don't know how old Kevin James is. He's probably older than I think he is. But I guess this is 2012 too. So why don't I shut up and
mhm.
let Kevin James act? I don't
Yeah, and I mentioned Adam
know.
Sandler because I forgot to mention that Happy Madison Productions is like producing the whole thing. So that's
Hmm.
Adam Sandler's production team that was like on Happy Gilmore and they probably did like Mr. Deeds and all
Hmm.
those.
I would love to see a Mike Ditka cameo just because we're talking about
I'm
him.
definitely gonna watch the movie just because I'm curious now.
Right. I hope that'd be cool if Sean Payton had a cameo. What if he played a different character?
That would
That'd
be
be pretty
cool.
cool.
Yeah,
But
like
who
they had
knows
the
what'll
guy from
happen?
Marvel throughout like the Avengers movies, just making like a little pop up. It'd be funny if
Mm.
Sean Payton was just like a store clerk or something.
That would be funny. That would be funny. All right, what we got next, Pat? What we got next?
Back to the Red Sox. So
Yes,
update
sir.
from the last week when they got swept by the Orioles on opening day, opening week. They have won 6 straight since then, and JD Martinez is red hot. Pitching's been better, but really it's the offense that's carrying us, which has kind of been the theme of the past like 2 to 3 years. It's like really the
Mm.
offense that carries us through. Good defense too. Subpar pitching besides Chris Sale. It's always a problem for us. I don't know if this is going to be sustained success. I really hope that it is. But I think JD Martinez, who struggled a lot last season, is going to be struggling way less this season. I think he's looking to turn it around. I don't think it's going to be a slumpy season. And you look at a guy who, like, before last season, I think he batted over 300, had 30 plus homers. Like, he
Mm.
was a monster. So that's the guy we need back, especially with the absence of Mookie Betts. Like, we need people to step up. So Alex Verdugo, JD Martinez, you got guys like that. Hopefully Devers can pick it up as well. It's exciting to see. Yeah, we won 6 straight since last week. And that's as of recording this. I
Right.
think we do play tonight. And then we probably play Wednesday too. Baseball's all the time. I don't know if they're playing 162 games this
I
year,
think
Chandler.
they
I don't
I
know.
think they dropped it to something like 152. Like they didn't cut out
So
that
a little
much,
bit.
but
Like
like
the
yeah,
NBA, like 82 to
72 to 80,
72.
yeah. But
Yeah. And I
but
don't shorten time span. I don't know, but
I will say, man, JD Martinez is red hot. He has the longest streak ever for extra base hits to start a season for the Red Sox. Like he's had a double or better in every game. He is. I could be wrong. I just say these stats as if I know them, but I always preface it and say I could be wrong. JD Martinez is one of the only players ever to have a 3 home run game for 3 different teams. Like that's
wow.
crazy. He hit 3 home runs the other night. We scored like 14 runs or something. He had 3 home runs, man. This dude is red hot. He's one of the best hitters in baseball. He has been for a while. And I just love to see him to stay healthy and stay active. Like you said, man, Devers is figuring out a little bit. Verdugo is figuring out a little bit. Man, Christian Vasquez and the other catcher Plawecki have been decent. So yeah, just continue to Billy Bean it and Moneyball it, and hopefully that this ragtag group of guys can figure it out and
Yeah, we don't have like huge names anymore. It doesn't feel like, we don't have like the Ortiz, the Pedroia. Like it's I don't know. We got Chris Sale, obviously. JD Martinez is a big name, but it's
I miss
weird.
you,
We do have
Mookie.
it's more of like a well-rounded team than usual. So I'm hoping that we can keep it together. I do miss Mookie as well.
And Alex Cora's back, which is a beautiful thing, Pat. Beautiful
Hmm.
thing. And now speaking about a baseball player that I'm not a big fan of, Alex Rodriguez.
No Red Sox fan can be a big fan. Well, and anyone who's involved in the ethical side of the game, anyone who believes that there's ethics to the game of baseball or just any sport in general, the juicer, A-Rod. But I saw this. I thought it was cool because
Yeah.
it's like A-Rod's been in the market to buy. So I've seen him in like headlines to buy like 3 different teams, I feel like. But I guess now, like, I think one of them was the Mets. Like he was looking to buy the Mets
Hmm.
at one point or be in the ownership group. Obviously, he can't afford it himself. But him and billionaire Mark Lohr, who I don't even know who that is, are closing in and buying the Timberwolves and then the Minnesota Lynx as well. So the WNBA alternate team. And I guess the purchase price is around like 1.5 billion. So I can't imagine how much of that A-Rod's putting up. I know he's still riding out that contract. I think he's still getting paid by the Yankees, to be honest, but nowhere near 1.5 billion, or at least half of that. So I'm sure Mark Lohr is putting up the majority of that, but I thought it was a cool headline. A-Rod
Yeah.
getting in the market. I knew he was gonna do it, so it's cool to see him finally do it. And my whole
Yeah.
family's Yankees fans besides me and my mom, so like I gotta on some level respect the Yankees. So I'll give A-Rod a little bit of love.
I have a couple thoughts here, Pat. One is J Lo in on this? Because A Rod and J Lo have been together for a while. J Lo is worth hundreds of millions of dollars, so I'm wondering if J Lo is going to be in on this. The second
There's
thing,
been there's
yeah,
been
go ahead.
trouble there. I've heard that I heard they're still together, but I've heard that A-Rod and J-Lo are kind of I don't know what's going on there. There's trouble in paradise, I've heard.
A Rod, figure it out. There isn't a person that looks better at the age of 45 or over than
Yeah, you
Jennifer
can't lose
Lopez. So you
J-Lo.
better
You
you better
can't do
figure
it.
that out. She looks like she's 29. Anyways, I wonder if J Lo's in on it too. Kevin Garnett was trying to get an ownership group to buy this team for a very long time. For a very long, KG put his heart and soul into this franchise, and I hate that he's not part of this ownership group.
I would
And
have liked to see that more.
yeah, and people are saying that the old owner and him didn't get along. Glenn Taylor, there was a bunch of issues there, but then it kind of seems like it comes down to the fact that there isn't enough money with who KG was working with, which
Hmm.
I would have liked to see KG involved, but KG go on to bigger and better things. He just had a book come out actually, A to Z. I'm looking forward to checking that out. But the other thing I'm thinking too is how is a team that hasn't made the playoffs in 15 years, 14 years, whatever it is, worth 1.5 billion. Their valuation has gone from 300 million to 1.5 in the past 15 years and they haven't made the playoffs. They haven't won. They're not
And not
good.
only that, they're the worst team in the NBA this year, right? And they have
Exactly.
well, besides Cat, I don't really know who else they have, to be honest. I feel like Towns has got to get out of there if they don't
Yeah.
figure out some sort of plan to like rejuvenate that team.
They have some
Because
they have some decent guys. Like they have D'Angelo Russell and they have Anthony Edwards, but it just hasn't worked. It hasn't worked.
yeah, nothing works together.
Blow it up, reset, whatever the deal is. But yeah, man, my last thought too is I don't like when people own teams that they're not going to be involved with. Are you telling me Alex Rodriguez is going to be courtside for 41 Timberwolves games? There is zero chance.
Yeah, no,
Do you think he spends more than 90 out of the 365 days in Minnesota? I don't think there's any
definitely
chance.
not. No,
Which
he's
I don't
he's living out his days in nice weather with J Lo. So I can't imagine he's in Minnesota too often.
I don't like that's the part I don't like about it. I don't like when it's like a passive owner. And I say that as a Liverpool fan and my boy John Henry lives in Massachusetts, but there's plenty of other management there. 1.5, bro. 1.5 is a lot of money. That's a lot of money. But
It
we
is
got
a
to move
lot.
on, Pat. We got to move on. Enes Kanter, Celtics fan favorite, playing for the Blazers again, his second stint there. My man grabbed 30 boards, Pat. 30 rebounds, set the Blazers franchise record. One thing I like too is he got the 30th rebound with like 2 minutes left. It wasn't
Hmm.
even just like an extra garbage time get him the stat. Like it was like a legit rebound, which I really like.
He could have had more, yeah. And his team was like going hype on the sidelines. I was like, it's so funny that they're getting so excited just for rebounds. Like, but when I saw this headline, I was like, 30 rebounds? I was like, you kidding me? I was like, that's a franchise record. I was like, what is the NBA record? I was like, that's got to be like close, right? No, because I forget that back in the day, everything was just ridiculous, and the Celtics
Yep.
won however many straight championships. You had a guy, Will Chamberlain, scoring 100 points. Well, Will Chamberlain holds the all-time record of 55 rebounds, and no less against the Celtics in a game in 1960. 55 rebounds. Cantor's not even close. I was like, oh, he's got to be right there. Like maybe like 35 is the record. No, he was almost halfway there. 25. I don't think that record will ever be touched. I mean,
No chance.
you don't get enough minutes. So if you play, I don't even know if they played 48-minute games back in the day.
So they did, and Wilt Chamberlain actually has the record for most minutes per game in a season, and it's actually 48 point something. Because of overtime games, he never came off the court. Never once. And when he scored the 100, they force fed him. They went into the game trying to get him to score 100. And I kind of wonder if it's the same thing with the rebounds, but Wilt has a bunch of 50 rebound games. Wilt averaged 30 rebounds a game for a season one time. And now when someone gets 30, it's a big deal, right? Like Cantor did
no one
this.
will ever touch that.
Drummond did it a few years ago. Kevin Love did it a few years before that. But think about that. The last three guys to do it are in like a 10-year span. Like this is Minnesota Kevin Love that got a 30-30 game. So this is pretty incredible. This is historical. Yeah, man. Shout out Enes Kanter. That's sick. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was cool. And, you know, he was on the Celtics for a year. And actually, didn't he come from the Blazers to the Celtics?
Yep.
And then go back to the Blazers?
Yep.
So came full circle for him. I like Enes Kanter, especially with everything going on in Turkey. And he's, you know, can't see his family. He's a likable guy for sure.
Absolutely. He's an activist. I love Enes Kanter. Shout out Enes Kanter. And man, some sad news up in that region in that Northwest, Pat. Jamal Murray last night. News came out literally 2 minutes before he started recording this pod. Jamal Murray torn ACL, man. You see him go down, grab it, writhing in pain. I've torn my ACL and had other partial tears in my knee on that same fall. And man, it is no fun. This is a 8-month to year process for Jamal. So shout out Jamal. Prayers up for Jamal.
Right when the Nuggets were playing so well too. I mean, they just went and got Aaron Gordon trying to be a contender, and then you lose your second best player. And it is tough to compare just because he's a point guard compared to Jokic at center. But to lose Jamal Murray, I mean, he's good for the NBA in general. He's just a great player. Great for the Nuggets, great for the NBA, great point guard. And it is sad to see that happen. It was tough to watch too. Like it wasn't like a gruesome injury, but just as soon as he hit the floor, like you could hear him yelling just because it's so quiet in the arena. I was like, oh.
I remember being unrealistically high on Jamal Murray when he came out of college because I listened to an interview with John Calipari pre-draft because, you know, Jamal was a Kentucky kid. And he said, don't be surprised when he leads the league in scoring. And don't be surprised when he leads rookies in scoring. And I was like, all right, I'll buy in, John. Like, this kid's a bucket. And, man, he's only like 24 now, 25. And this kid is unbelievable. Future all-star. Can't wait to see him come back better than ever. Hopefully halfway through next season. I don't know what the timetable will look like, but seems kind of like a year from now, maybe post All-Star break next year. Shout out Jamal, man. Nikola, time for you to carry the squad, brother. And Pat, now we're going to get on to some football. And it's funny. We say it every week, but we just keep talking football, man. It's the sport that keeps on giving. We're both such big football fans. And
yeah, we got much less this week, but there's still always things to talk about in the football world. It's a big sport. We always got things to talk about, especially as New England fans. And you just had this headline.
Yeah, man, this was a weird one to see yesterday, but I'm not that upset about it. Julian Edelman posting a video saying he retired. So the Pats listed him as failed a physical, so it saves them money, and they're still going to pay him out, whatever. But Julian Edelman, 12 years with the Pats, 34 years old. What a career, man. 3 Super Bowls, throwing touchdowns, running touchdowns, punt returns, kick returns, playing cornerback. Like this dude did everything. Like we thought he was about to be Troy Brown when he came out of college. He was a quarterback, 7th round pick out of Kent State as a quarterback, man. And he put out like a cool little HBO doc series when he got suspended for PEDs. That was pretty good. He's big in the media and, very, very likable guy. But Pat, I got to tell you, man, with how the Pats receivers were looking last year, Jules only played 4 or 5 games, wasn't great, looked old, looked hurt, same as last year. Believe it or not, the full 2 seasons and then the 4 or 5 games he played before that, he had the most drops in the league over those 2+ years. And he just wasn't playing at the standard that he needed to play at. And I think that it was time for him to hang up the cleats, man. I love Jules. I love these ultimate utility guys grinded out. Who doesn't love a 7th round pick that has a 12-year career? That is inspirational. And little guy, 5'11", just outworking so many people and forming this relationship with Brady and all the stuff. But Pat, I got to tell you, man, the Pats really are better off without him. They are better off clearing up that receiver roster spot because now Kendrick Bourne, Nelson Aguilar, and then Jacoby Myers and Damiere Byrd are still there. That's like a decent 4, but Jules is probably the 5th best there. And now you bring in Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. So you have 6 receiving options that are better. Well, what about James White and Rex Burkhead? Those are better receiving options. Jules is down the list. I think it was a good time for him to go. And Pat, what about as a Ravens fan? As a non-Pats fan, what's your perspective on Julian Edelman, man?
Well, when I did see this, first I texted you guys because I saw they caught him because he failed the physical. And then I was like, oh, well, what's next? And John said maybe he'll go to like Miami or something like that. Just go play on some teams, like just kind of a role receiver, get a couple receptions here and there. But then when I saw that he retired, I was like, that makes sense. Why would he go somewhere else? It's like he has these knee problems. And for me, it didn't feel too early. Like I think you kind of alluded to that too. Like it didn't feel too early. He had been dropping the ball a ton. He's just got these health problems, and there's nothing else left for him to prove. Like Brady's gone. He doesn't have his partners anymore. He doesn't have most of the guys that he played with his whole career. And it felt like that was kind of just like the lasting piece of the Patriots franchise that was still there, besides the O linemen and the position players. But for these like key role players, Edelman's gone, and now it's kind of like the Patriots they're in a completely new era, like you said. And one of the questions I had for you was like, did they need him at receiver this year? But as you just pointed out, they have all these other guys, a couple kind of veterans now, and Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne, not veterans, but they've been around for a few years. And then they have the younger guys as well. So they're going to give these other guys experience. They brought in Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. They're going to go back to the 2 tight end attack that they had so many years ago that was dangerous. And I think you answered it that they really don't need him at receiver this year. He had so many drops. If he was healthy and he actually had a full training camp, he's in great shape. Maybe he wouldn't be dropping the ball so much. Maybe he just didn't have the chemistry with Cam Newton. I don't know. Maybe it was just different than when Brady was there. But that's why for me, like, as a non-Patriots fan, like it made sense. And I've always liked Edelman. Like he's a likable guy. I know he had the whole thing with the PEDs. And he did release that doc. I don't know, like, if he was doing that to heal faster, like, it wasn't with the intention of, like, getting an edge. And really in football, it's like, do PEDs, like, give you that much of an edge? Like, obviously, for a running back, like, you can be bigger. But it's like, they take so many skills to play at receiver. It's like, one of them is being quick. And especially for Edelman, like, is being, this huge bowling ball really going to help him? So, I don't know with the PEDs. I never, like, got into that controversy. But for me, like it made sense for him to retire, and it's a good end to a career. I mean, it's time for him to go, and you can't really say much else about him.
Yeah, no, for sure. And man, I gotta say, Julian Edelman's not a Hall of Famer, and that
was the debate. Yeah, that's the debate going on right now.
Yeah, people have been talking about it yesterday, today. I've watched every Pats game since I can remember, man, and Julian Edelman's not a Hall of Famer. 600 something catches, good amount of yardage, all this stuff. But I will say, Patriots Hall of Fame, first ballot, 2025, the first year he's eligible, he's going in, man. And I don't think it's bad to say you're not a Hall of Famer. You can still be a Hall of Famer for a team, and that's pretty legit. He made this his home, a kid from California. And, he has the second most catches in postseason history. Julian Edelman. Second most catches in postseason history. And people say, oh, Brady played the most
Probably because
games.
he was there so many times, right?
And guess what? He was still there every year, and he was still performing every year. You know who has the
He came
most,
alive in the playoffs.
without a doubt. And you know who has the most catches all time in the playoffs, Pat? Do you know?
I do not.
Jerry Rice, the greatest receiver of all time. Jerry
Good
Rice.
company
So,
to be with. Yeah, good company to be with.
not bad for a 7th round pick, man.
But you don't think he's a Hall of Famer? I know that's kind of,
No.
Shannon and Skip are talking about that today on Undisputed. So I saw that and I was
Dude,
like, I want to ask Chandler that.
Julian Edelman, man. I have the stats up, but he's not a Hall of Famer, Pat, and I'll tell you why.
It's a great story, good resume, but not a Hall of Fame resume.
All right, so last year he played 6 games, 0 touchdowns. The year before, 16 games, 6 touchdowns, 6 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, 7 touchdowns. The most he ever had in a season was 7 touchdowns. He has a career 36 regular season touchdowns, 12 years, 36, 3 a year. That's just you're not a Hall of Famer. You're a Patriots Hall of Famer, and there's nothing wrong with that. And you are going to go down remembered as being the most integral part of winning a Super Bowl, man. That catch that Julian Edelman made, that catch that made everyone forget about Julio Jones making one of the greatest Super Bowl catches ever, that catch changed that Super Bowl. And yes, the Dontai Hightower strip sack and all that, but man, Julian Edelman, unbelievable legacy. Unbelievable legacy. All-time great Patriot. They're not going to retire his number. They're going to put him in the Hall of Fame for the Patriots, but he's not a Hall of Famer, Pat. I love him to death. I love this guy. He's done so much right. He's done a few things wrong like they all do. But don't be surprised if week 8 you see him come out of retirement and sign with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's all I'm saying, because there's no more Brady in New England. There's no more Gronk. There's no more Chung. There's no more. They're all gone. The Julian Edelman's Patriot era is gone. It's a new era, man. It's a new era. Time to move on.
Mm-hmm. And if you look at the people who want to keep the Hall of Fame small as it is, like you keep Canton small, you keep Cooperstown small. In terms of that, like those people probably wouldn't want to see Edelman in the Hall of Fame. And I think like you said, the touchdowns alone, but then you look at like the rest of his receiving numbers every season. I just don't think there's enough there to make a case that he is a Hall of Famer. Like I said, it's a great story, like unbelievable. One of the best stories of all time in football. Kent State quarterback, 7th rounder. And he comes in, I watched the clip this morning. He came in the game when Wes Welker was not ready to play and takes a return for a touchdown. It's like, it kind of starts right there, all from that moment where Bill puts him in and he gets that chance. And then there's 12 consecutive years of all this great play. But I agree. I don't think it's enough for him to be a Hall of Famer.
I love that clip of Bill too, because you see him walk over to Wes, in a t-shirt and a backwards hat, and he goes, "Hey, you ever heard the story of blank?" And I don't know the guy's name, but it was basically a guy that was hurt, and they put in some rookie, and he took his job, And Wes Welker started laughing, and he's like, "That's what that punt returner might be doing to you, Wes." And Wes starts.
He's like, "He can have it." Wes is like, "He can have it." Bill's like, "Way to compete, way to compete." He's like, "Good job."
Yeah. Hey, but shout out Jules, man. All-time great Patriot. Appreciate you. Love you. I just hope you don't play in Tampa to end the season, but I won't be surprised if you do. Go do your thing, Jules. This guy's going to be in movies and TV shows. He has a media and entertainment career ahead of him. I already know it.
Now speaking of Tampa too, they just got another running back, Giovani Bernard. Do they even need another running back? Like they already had Leonard. They had Ronald Jones. I think they still have Ronald Jones, right?
Yep.
Yeah, now they're getting Giovani Bernard. So like the way I want them to use Leonard too, like these other guys should not even be taking snaps. Like I think Giovani Bernard is like he could be a potential passing back, I think, as opposed to Ronald Jones. And I think if you put Leonard in as the primary like power back, and then you have Giovani catching some passes, maybe work on him a little bit in the offseason with that and just get him in that scheme. I think that would work out well. So I like the Bernard signing for that case. I can't imagine they're paying him much money. I just saw the 1-year deal. I didn't see how much he's making. Not a bad pickup, but it's just like, what else can the Bucs do? I mean, they've added so many. They've kept everyone. Then they've added people, re-signed Leonard. Now they had Giovani Bernard. It's like, what else? What else can you do? I mean, they got to be the favorite for the Super Bowl.
Without a doubt, you return all 22 starters and then you sign vets on minimums, like they're in a great position, and they're gonna draft well, man. Sean Lick, the GM, like always drafts well, so it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. But Gio Bernard, good little signing. You're the third running back, dude. I mean, people forget Shady McCoy was on this team last year. LaShawn McCoy was the third running back. Dude, shout out Shady, man, because he didn't play a snap in last year's Super Bowl and he got a ring. And he didn't play a snap for the Chiefs in the Super Bowl prior and he got a ring. He's got it figured out. Shout out LaShawn McCoy for that. But
He
yeah,
fell
dude,
off hard, man. He fell off so hard.
went up
That
to Buffalo and was gone, man. Yeah,
feels bad. Him
it
on the
does.
Eagles back in the day was just amazing.
It was unbelievable. I like the Geo signing, but again, I don't think this really changes anything for the Bucks. You just add a nice
No,
little
it was kind
depth
of just
piece,
an
and
yeah, it's just an added weapon. It's like they didn't even need to do it.
it's like good for you. You got
Just
another
to
good
spite
player.
the rest of the league. Yeah,
Exactly.
the Bengals, I think the Bengals caught him. They were like, yeah, we'll get him.
Yeah, dude, and we talk about this too, but no one's ever mad at a guy like this for going to a top team. Like, yeah, Gio, go get your ring, man. Do your thing.
I hope he
Do your
gets a
thing.
ring. He's been on the Bengals for, the worst team in the
Yeah.
AFC North for years now. It's like, it's tough. And Giovani Bernard, another UNC guy. So I got to root
Ugh,
for him.
ugh.
Love to see that.
Anyways, let's head to a former South Carolina guy. I prefer the Gamecocks, but Jadaveon Clowney, Pat. Jadaveon Clowney, man, meeting with the Browns, likely to sign with them. What do you make of that signing?
Yeah, I think he met with them like a little while ago, but I don't think they came to terms right away because I think he wanted more than they were offering. But now I think maybe he hasn't gotten as many offers from other teams that just weren't as good. So he's meeting with them Wednesday, which will be when this podcast comes out. And it says they say that he's likely to sign with them. I can't imagine why he wouldn't. The Browns defense is going to be pretty solid if they add Jadavion. He can play to the way we know he can play if he plays to his potential. It's just another weapon for the Browns, and the AFC North just gets a little bit better here. It's going to be a tough division this coming year.
Yeah, man. And like you said, that Browns pass rush is already very good. That front seven, and then a guy like Clowney. Now, Pat, I will tell you when I was reading this, I kind of started worrying about Jadavion, man. I kind of started thinking about this guy that was the number 1 overall pick in the draft, that played a couple good years in Houston, forces a trade, doesn't re-sign with Seattle, signs with Tennessee, and now is signing with the Browns. And I don't know what the deal is going to be, but if this is a 1-year deal, I'm kind of worried about this guy's career because he's just going to be a 1-year deal after a 1-year deal after a 1-year deal. And
yeah, and like
I
the
don't
true
know how to feel
grades, that's
about
not what you need, right? You need like a home, you need somewhere you can build a legacy and continue to play for years. It's tough to see a guy bounce from team to team like that. And I don't know what the problem is. Like if it's his play, if he's a locker room problem, if sometimes teammates don't get along. I don't know what the issue is, but I would like to see him stay with the Browns if he signs with them.
Yeah, who knows? And hopefully the news will come out and it's a 3 or 4 year deal, and then we'll be like, all right.
I hope so.
But
that would be nice.
For a guy that is so talented and so athletically gifted, I would just hate to see him become a journeyman this early in his career. I really would.
That's the last thing you want to see.
Yeah, man. And this last one isn't something we want to talk about, Pat, but we got to mention it quick, man. Deshaun Watson. And we haven't talked about it yet, but Deshaun Watson has, I believe, 22 harassment, sexual assault, sexual misconduct.
It's a whole mess. And like, I didn't even want to get into it because I think everyone's it's been repeated over and over again. Just this whole thing. It's like, it's been stuck on replay, but for Deshaun, like I feel bad because he's a likable guy and it's just an unfortunate situation. And for the whole thing to come about, like, I don't know what the exact scenario is, but like my big question was, does he even play this upcoming season with everything going on? Like, does he play through all those distractions? Do the Texans want him to play? And does he want to play? Like, I don't know if he'll be allowed to. I don't know. Well, knowing Goodell, he'll be allowed to regardless. He lets anyone play. He'll get like a 2-game suspension slapped on him, even if he's found guilty. But I don't know if he plays this upcoming season. Like, I don't know that he does. Maybe, in my opinion, like, I don't think he will. Maybe a few games. I don't know. It's
interesting because who knows how long this is going to take to get resolved, right? If there's 20 something cases. But I mean, the thing with what's happening with Deshaun is there's 2 scenarios here, Pat, and both are equally, well, not equally, but both are horrifying. One is that Deshaun Watson is one of the biggest serial predators in athletic history. Deshaun Watson has abused his power and his situation and taken advantage of 20-something women, which is like worst case scenario. That is disgusting. That is horrible. But then the other possibility here, and there's only two sides, is that this is the greatest smear campaign ever ran against an athlete. This could end his career. This could put him in jail for life. Like, so either he is the biggest serial predator in sports history, or this is the biggest smear campaign in sports history. And it's so hard
I'm
to
so
know.
curious.
And it's innocent till proven guilty, right? But that doesn't really feel like how he's being treated. And he was trying to force a trade out of Houston. You're untradeable, Deshaun Watson. You can't be traded. And then people are starting those conspiracies. Is this an inside job from the Houston front office? No, you don't get 22 accounts of sexual assault and harassment and all this from your star quarterback that you're paying $40 million a year. It's scary, man. I also thought, why does Deshaun Watson have 22 massage therapists? Why does he have 22 masseuses? That's what I've
heard. Like in one of the podcasts I listen to, it's like he could have like any woman he wants. And I think he has a girlfriend too.
Yeah.
And it's like, what is he doing? If these are all true, like what is he doing? What is going on? Why is this happening in the first place? The whole situation is so weird to me. Like the timing of it, the fact that there's 22 of them, I think it's up to 22 now, and just why, if it is true, like why he would even find himself in that situation, because he seems like such a nice, likable guy. It's so hard. Sometimes those are the worst guys. I mean, sometimes it's like sheep and wool, or a wolf in sheep's clothing. Is that what they say? Yeah, it's like you never know who you're talking to or what the guy's capable of. And I don't know. I just was curious if you think he's gonna play or not this season. Maybe he does, but it's not up to like his usual level.
Yeah, I think just because we're in April right now and the season, preseason's like August, the season starts September, October. Like I think he'll play because of that, just because it's 5 months away.
It is a while. Yeah, you're right.
And I think he'll play too, because I'm presuming guilty. I mean, I'm presuming innocent until proven guilty. But the thing, presuming guilty. But man, it's just because of the absurdity of the numbers that it's like it doesn't seem believable. It doesn't seem believable that this is happening. Like, but again, what do we know? We just have to wait till all the facts come out, and hopefully as time goes on, this gets resolved, because obviously we don't want 22 sexual assaults to have happened, and we want Deshaun Watson to play. So let's hope for the best, right? I don't know what else to say. It's tough, man. It's scary.
No, it is a tough situation.
All right. So as all you loyal listeners of the show know, before we get on to our closing segment, what we've learned, we gotta, get a little word in from our loyal sponsor, Book Thinkers. So you guys know, but if you read personal development books, you gotta go check out Book Thinkers. This company is dedicated to helping you fulfill more every single day through books. And every day on Instagram and every single week on their podcast, this team over there at Book Thinkers is helping you discover new books, new mentors, and new methods to help you achieve more and live better. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, the right book can absolutely change your life if you read it at the right time. So please head on over and learn more by typing in Book Thinkers on Instagram or going to bookthinkers.com. Now we're going to get on to what we've learned. And unfortunately, Pat's having some technical difficulties. He was going to talk about how the Masters is just, there's nothing like it, especially as a golf fan for him. He was just really interested to see this year that there were different players at the top, first, second, third, there, guys that you weren't expecting to be there. And it really is incredible that, golf, anyone can succeed at the top. It's not dominated by a single person, a single age group, a single ethnicity, anything. It is a worldwide sport that people compete in, and the levels of domination change as time goes. So that's what Pat learned. Really cool to see there. Now for what I learned, I got the Sox jersey on, like we talked about it. We've mentioned baseball a few times, but man, I didn't know how much I missed baseball. I had no idea. Just even watching the Sports Center top 10 and seeing a couple diving catches, seeing JD Martinez hit 3 home runs in a game, seeing the rookie for the Chicago White Sox, Mercedes, blast an absolute bomb 485 feet. I didn't know I was missing baseball, man. You know, people talk about it's a slow sport, it's all this, that, it's boring. It is so fun to watch. It is a duel. You know, every single matchup, pitcher and batter, is an intense battle that they train for, they prep for, they read all the stats for, all the analytics, watch a lot of tape. I didn't know I missed baseball, man. It's such a fun sport. Played it forever growing up. And, you know, that's just kind of what I learned this week is I didn't realize how much I missed baseball and how glad I am that it's back. So that's what I've learned this week. Unfortunately, like I said, Pat had some technical difficulties, so I'm closing off the show alone. But I got to say, Pat and I appreciate every listen, every like, subscribe, all that nonsense we always talk about, guys. Really, really fantastic support from friends, family, and honestly, some people that we've connected with through the podcast. You know, they continue to support the show. We support theirs, even some of the people we've interviewed. It's been a really cool environment to build and grow in. And we feel so lucky to be able to do it every single week. You know, we put time and effort into it, but we appreciate your time, that you guys are spending listening to this. It's not a small thing to say, hey, Chandler, hey, Pat, I'm going to give you guys an hour and a half of my time. Unless you're like me and speed up the podcast a little bit, 1.2 times speed, but it's not a small thing to give us an hour and a half of your week. We know time is finite. So we really do appreciate you guys. Continue to hit the like, the subscribe, the share, comment, anywhere. All of it helps us, guys. We really do appreciate you. Thank you. And that's episode 16 of Right Off the Bus. Peace, y'all.
You are listening to Right Off the Bus.